Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 33 of the RocknRoll Beer Guy Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Phantom Carriage Brewery. It's a horror-themed brewery located in Carson, California. They have really good food, really great beers, and they have a movie theater that's constantly playing old-school horror movies. It's a great time, and if you swing by the bar, tell them that the podcast sent you, and you'll get 10% off your bill. This podcast is also brought to you by Gamefly. If you go to RocknRollBeerGuy.com, there's a link there that says Gamefly offer. Click it, and you'll get a 30-day free trial with Gamefly that'll send you one game to your house. They have over 8,000 titles for every console available, and they ship it right to your door. In this episode, I talked to the artist known as Defame. I met him over at Long Beach Comic-Con, and we got to talk and decided to do a podcast. He has his own podcast called Doomed to Fail. He came over to the apartment, and we sat here and talked for a couple hours and decided to record it. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Cheers. I was having a lot of issues with pop sounds. Like, I'm going to have pizza. And it was like, So it was a decision I made to try and reduce the amount of plosives, I think they're called. But, yeah, anyway.
Plosives.
Plosives.
I like that word.
That's the musical editing term for it, I guess. I don't know.
I'm musically illiterate. That's probably why I've never heard of it.
But you've worked with a lot of bands.
Not very many bands most people know of. Like, I've worked with Carnifex. It's probably
they're a big band.
Yeah, I would say they're pretty well known if you listen to metal.
Right.
I tell other people and they're like, Carnifex.
Carnifex, that sounds evil. Yeah.
Yeah. Probably the other big band that I've worked for was Hierophant.
Hierophant? Yeah, however you pronounce
that.
Yeah,
I don't know. Well, and it's also, like a heavier metal band, so of course their logo is not even legible.
Oh, no, yeah, it's tree branches.
Right.
At that point.
Yeah. Like that meme, the black metal. This is my new black metal band logo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you said Whitechapel, right?
Yeah, Whitechapel. Oh, yeah, I forgot about them. I was kind of bummed because all they wanted me to do was a text and their logo. And I was like, oh, man, that's kind of... I mean, it was quick and...
Yeah, it's a quick buck, but...
Yeah, it's a quick buck, but it wasn't really fun.
The artistic mind makes you want to do something bigger.
Yeah. I've had a lot of... bigger bands come to me, like Nails. What was it you that I was telling you?
Yeah, we were talking about Nails at the con. They paid for a percentage of the art, but never got the rest of it.
Yeah, they wanted like 4 designs, and they paid like 30% down. I think they actually ended up paying like the 30% was for one piece, and I tried to contact them and tell them I was done, and nobody ever got back to me. I contacted him like 3 or 4 different times. So I don't know if he got like a new email or if I have no idea.
Well, it depends on the time in which you responded. They had a little situation, and I'd say like maybe 8 months ago, a year ago, maybe.
Yeah, it was around a year ago.
They kind of took a little break. Not really. Like they announced, like a bunch of the metal websites announced that they took a break. They're like, oh, Nails is going on hiatus. All their shows were canceled, which is true. They had a bunch of show dates, so they canceled them.
Oh, well, that's probably what happened.
Yeah.
Maybe I should.
But
get
yeah,
in
now they're
touch.
back. So Todd came back. They introduced the fourth member, Leon, who's a good friend of mine. He was on the show, and now they're back in action. So maybe it was during that time period. And
Maybe I should hit him back up because I have. I don't know his name, but I'm pretty sure it was the lead singer. It's
Todd?
Always the front man that contacts me. Yeah.
Todd. Yeah,
Todd. Yeah, it was Todd.
That's usually how it goes with bands. Like the singer does the least amount of equipment carrying, so they're in charge of all the other shit.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself for those that are listening that may not know you. Samuel.
Yeah, Samuel Ian Mills. That's my legal name, but I go by Defame.
Defame. So that's your artistic name, right? For all your designs.
Yes.
What's your website? Defame.us, is it?
Yep.
Yeah, I got it right. Sweet. All right.
Yeah, it's really easy. I try to make it as simple as possible so that people wouldn't forget it,
Cool. So when I post this up, am I posting Defame? Just not putting your real name?
Yeah, you can do that. Well, it's kind of like this complex, I guess. It's nice to have a pseudonym, so if I want to go... I mean, I did this on purpose so that I could go off and do something else. I know I'm not going to be doing this forever.
Mm-hmm.
I like all kinds of different stuff, not just metal, so...
Right. Yeah, because your art is kind of specific for metal, I would say.
Right.
Like it's got skulls and demons, and I really like the detail, the amount of detail that goes into it, like just the little lines and stuff. It's a very specific genre that you're going for, but I think you could still use the Defame name and just maybe branch out and within it, like hey, this is my metal series or my whatever. You give it a funny name or a cool name that, like, this is the demons, and then you can start a new medium and call it something else, but you're still going under Defame. Because one thing I learned that from being in a band, like, if you change your sound, a lot of times, like, people want to change the name of the band, but it's like it's a difficult choice because you're building a fan base. For example, for Defame or Defame. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're sorry, I smoked. You're building your fan base, and then you're going to start something else, and you're going to lose fans from one side, like when they're crossing over to the next project, like a lot of them will not follow. Whereas if it's under the same umbrella, you already have them, like you're already in your bubble. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, I'm already doing that with Bizarre Doodles, so
Okay.
I sign it as Defame, but it's a split brand because I see brands as kind of like a TV channel, like the History Channel is not going to have stuff that you would see on Sci-Fi.
Sure,
what I mean?
or music videos or something.
Right, exactly. So, for my fans that like the Defame stuff, that's more like heavy metal, black metal theme type stuff. Just for their sake, I split it because I was posting on there like Bizarre Doodles, and some people didn't really dig it. They were just like, "Oh, the cartoons cheapen your artwork," and I'm like, "Okay, that's what made me think." I was like, "Well, they have kind of a good point. Like, I have my own brand right now, and it has like a certain stigma of like brutality,
Right.
So like bringing cartoons isn't very brutal, so I understand that."
Jeez.
And
it's so weird how people are like that. I mean, I get it. I get it as business-wise. Like, it's necessary sometimes to branch off and then, kind of separate it from what you're doing. But, like, for me, I think it adds a cool element to a band, for example. If they're brutal as shit, like, their music is just insane. It's like chainsaws grinding on bone. But then they have a cartoon. Like, that makes me think, okay, cool. They're not taking themselves too seriously. They're not like, oh, metal, dude, like, I'm satanic and I'm going to sacrifice children.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you're doing a thing. It's an outlet of metal music, and then you also appreciate cartoons. That's fine. I mean, like me, for example, dude, a lot of people don't know some of the depth of shit that I get into, because, like, they just see a lot of the Rock and Roll Beer Guy thing or the metal band and the metal podcast, but Like, man, my house is full of little cute toys. You know, I have an autograph of fucking the Beatles on the artist Delbo who was at one of the cons. You know, there's video games everywhere. Fucking, so I like a lot of things, but I do put out a specific vibe, I guess, to certain people.
Right.
And same for you.
Yeah, and you have to
Yeah.
if you're going to brand yourself and treat your business as a business and be a professional, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It's just so weird. Getting into business for something that you're so passionate about is always a slippery slope.
Yeah, it's really tough, man. Like, yesterday I went around to, I think I went to 6 or 7 different skate shops, and then I went to RVCA, and the receptionist wasn't there, so I went up there today. But I was going to all kinds of different places and, you know, getting shot down, and, you know, it was a humbling experience because I had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, it is a slippery slope because you care so much about it, and it's hard to not have the mentality of why doesn't people care? Why don't people care? You know?
Right. Yeah.
Because it's so close to your heart, and you know,
Yeah.
well, and artists are very sensitive, you know, and musicians are too.
Yeah.
And you know, we're even more emotional than the average person. So tack on what you love, and people just not
Shitting
getting
on it.
it and shitting on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough, and a lot of people don't take it seriously. Like the fans don't even really take it seriously. They're just like, oh, psh. But you're an artist. You know what I mean? Like, you're not doing construction, or you're not, you know, an engineer. You didn't go to like 12 years of doctor school. Like, okay, cool, but I still think that what we're doing is of value, more value than a lot of those shit jobs that, you know, are shitty jobs that are necessary. But I think art is more necessary than construction. I think we should probably slow down on the construction. We're kind of taking over the entire planet at this point. Like,
yeah. Well, and especially nowadays, I mean, like in the 21st century, art is literally everywhere. And there's so many businesses, it's really the only way to identify yourself as a business through art, you know, design or whatever type of art it is, illustration, design, you know, graphics, whatever it is. But I mean, logos, that's artwork. You know, that was an artist. And without that logo, you have no brand identity. And I mean, that's essential if you're going to go somewhere, because like logos and emblems, they stay in someone's mind. And that's what's going to make them remember your product or your service or whatever you do. And they associate that with what you do. So
for sure.
It's very essential.
And every single company has to have logos. Like, that's not even a question. If you want to succeed, like, you need marketing and branding. Like, that's so important for any company in any industry. Even construction. I was talking shit about them. Yeah. They have their logos. You know, they have their little dude with the hat or whatever, you know. Like, that's all necessary. You need an artist for that. And it really is what defines your business. Like, I was having this discussion I work at a brewery here in downtown LA. And I was talking to the owner and like the president of the company, and it's like, guys, we need a logo. Like,
they don't have a logo?
We have like our name. It just says Iron Triangle, you know, and it's in a specific font or whatever. But we don't have anything that kind of resonates or sticks in your mind, you know. Like, the idea was maybe we get a little iron, like an iron triangle. That's the name of the brewery. It's simple. We already have the shape, you know. And at the end of the day, they liked it. They were doing doodles of like, how can we do this? And we should maybe do it with like steel rods and whatever, like rivets and stuff to make it look metal. And I'm like, yeah, it's whatever it is, but we need something. You know what I mean? Whatever the logo is, make it look cool. And you need to have that thing. Because like when you go to a bar, I mean, a lot of the times, if you're not like a super crafty beer nerd, like you're just looking at what's on the handles. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Budweiser, well, what's that thing with the fucking pyramid and the you know, I mean, like, give me that. I want to try that. And for years, that sold so much beer, like in bottle art, for example, for beers. Like the bottle art, that's maybe something you should look into.
That's what I've been trying to do with Pabst Blue Ribbon.
You're going big time.
They're well, because I've worked with them for
Okay.
like 3. Well, I did 2 T-shirts, 2 stickers, a poster, and then a band poster, and then I also entered their can competition.
Oh, right. They did like an art thing for the
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, all the things that I've looked at, I don't want to toot my own horn, but like most of it's pretty garbage. So I may have a good chance.
Yeah. No, I mean, for sure. And again, you have a reputation already. You have a brand that you've been working on. Like, it's, you're not just, Sam, the artist. It's like, hey, I have a company. It's
Right.
something I'm doing legit, and I've, sold to artists, to bands, to other things. So,
Yeah, apparently I'm a little bit more well known than I thought, because I was the 2 artists from Comic-Con. I was hanging out with them, and then there was like 2 other artists that were hanging out with us, and he was like, "What's your Instagram?" I was like, "Defame." He was like, "That sounds really familiar. I think I follow you." And it's just like that happens often, and I don't even. It's crazy to me, because I don't think that like I'm really well known, because I'm from St. Louis, where I'm from. Like, nobody cares who I am. Nobody, it's like they're not an art culture,
Yeah. Do you live there? Is that where you
Yeah,
live?
I do.
So right now you're just in town. You came for the con and you're just chilling, going
Yep.
around.
I'm hanging with my boss's really good friend. I used to work at Harley.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool. And what's the goal? Just try and get some work while you're out here?
Yeah, I did sell a original yesterday when I was going to skate shops and stuff. That was really cool and unexpected. It's been paying for my gas and my food, so
Nice.
yeah.
You should definitely hit up some of the local breweries, because Pabst is big and it's a lot bigger of a paycheck, but you can get probably more work quantity wise.
It's honestly the company as a whole, man. Like, Rob Riley is unbelievable, man. Like, he's a very, very genuine, understanding person when it comes to art and artists. And I mean, he just like lets me do whatever I want. Like, it's awesome. He's
cool.
just like, well, this is what I was thinking. I'm like, oh man, I already have like a million ideas. What do you think of this? And he's like, dude, I love it. Like, go for it. I don't even like send him sketches or anything. Like, he trusts me.
That's
know?
good. That's a good relationship.
And it's always like, every time I've worked for them, it's been like some of my best work, in my opinion, because it's just pure creativity, and I don't feel squandered. I don't feel like my process is being interrupted or I guess squashed. Yeah, infringed.
Yeah. When you go into a design for them like that, like, yeah, I guess that would be squandering or infringing. Like, I was going to say, like, do you think about it? Like, you're going to put more effort into it because it's for a big ass company like PBR.
Well, and I love their beer.
Yeah.
I honestly, when people, my cousin's boyfriend, he is in a band, and he was like blown away, and he's like, dude, like, you work for Pabst Blue Ribbon, that's insane. Like, how'd that make you feel? I'm like, honestly, it wasn't, like, I should have been way more excited, but Rob is so cool, and I already love the company, and I love their beer. It seemed like it was almost meant to be, so it didn't like blow me away.
I mean,
does that make sense?
It makes sense, and I actually think that's better than being blown away by it.
And it helped with my
distracted.
art. It helped with my art because I wasn't like overwhelmed that I was working for this huge
You didn't
company.
have that pressure of
Right.
trying to meet a certain criteria.
I seriously felt like I was working for a friend.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's a good feeling. I relate it to, like, when you start realizing that you're becoming an adult. Like, you have those moments where, like, oh, fuck, I just want to chill and eat pizza, but I have to get up and go to work. Like, when you start realizing those moments that, okay, I'm an adult now. I had that same, like, type of feeling once I started working with certain artists, like, and meeting some of these people. Like, the reason the whole podcast got started was I met Adam D from the band Killswitch Engage.
Oh,
I met him at a brewery while I was working in Florida, And I just remember seeing him. I'm like, holy shit, I know exactly who that is. Like, that's a big deal. And having like that moment of like, let me go talk to him. I'm just gonna say what's up and see what the fuck he's doing in my brewery. You know what I mean? Like, why are you here? Which is an obvious answer: beer.
Right.
But yeah, we met, we talked, and we hit it off, and we became really good friends after that. And when the time came, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this podcast. Adam would be my first guest. I think it would make perfect sense to have my friend on. But then it like, for me, it was like, it's my friend, my good friend Adam. But I forgot. My brain just kind of deleted the whole. Oh yeah, he's also in a very successful band, and like
Right.
that you liked. I really enjoyed their first album. Once Jesse left the band, I was kind of thrown off a little bit, but yeah, it was just you get rid of that pressure in your mind, like you with the art and PBR. You get rid of that, and you're now free to do something great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it feels really organic. Like
Yeah.
it felt like I was doing my own thing, like just drawing for fun.
Yeah.
And then I get a paycheck afterwards.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, and back to the whole like art for companies and stuff. You were saying how like beer cans that have like a really cool image or whatever, they always sell the best. That's what is. It's kind of weird that companies don't understand that. There's a lot of companies and bands that don't understand the cooler it is, the more it's going to sell.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like that, man. If a band, I really, really dig them, but I don't like their T-shirts, and
You're not going to buy it.
I'm not going to buy it.
Right. You have to have cool shirts. That's for sure for a band. Like, you need to have a cool design. It can't look generic. Like,
Right.
Some of my band's early shirts, they were my art, but they were a little simple, I guess, because it is what it is. At the time you're starting, you just need something. But
Right.
But the more complicated our shirt designs got, the more they started selling. You know what I mean? And it makes sense. Look at in my kitchen. I've got, bottles of different art from different bands and different beer bottles that I like the art, So I kept it. Or like I have also the Stone Cold Steve Austin beer up there, but that's because I'm a wrestling geek too. So.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to look at those later. I don't have my glasses on, so they just look like a bunch of beer cans.
Oh, okay.
Beer
bottles.
bottles.
Each one has a pretty interesting. A lot of them are metal themed, because a lot of them are beers that have been collaborated with a band. So Mastodon beers, or I have a beer that I made with Killswitch at Cigar City up there as well, and a couple things.
You got Trooper up there.
Troopers up there, yeah. 1349 is a death metal band, and they did a beer with Surly. I don't know. There's a bunch, man. I've been trying to collect them all. I just picked up the cans of No Effects beer from Stone Brewing. They did a lager. So once I drink it, I'll put it up there. I don't know why. I have this weird collector mindset. Not a lot of people. I mean, I don't think a lot of people do.
But that's good though, because that's what creates a market for it with people that have that mentality. Because I mean, you think about collectibles. Okay, most people, they don't keep it in the box. It's not in mint condition.
Right.
Most people don't. If there's a series or a set of something, they just get one and they don't really think about it. It's people that are like really fanatical and just have that collection mindset that creates a market for it, because 15, 20, sometimes even hundreds of years later, you have this massive collection. I mean, not saying that you're going to live for hundreds of years, but I'm saying people that have passed it on through generations and stuff.
Sure.
They have this massive collection, and sometimes it ends up being worth a lot of money,
Yeah. I mean, I do have some stuff laying around that I've like just like, let me see what this is worth. And I'm like, holy shit. What? Like $1,000 for this piece of plastic? Yeah, I'm selling it. Fuck that. Like, I'm not keeping that. But yeah, I've had that as I've gotten older and more shit keeps piling up. Like I've had a bottle of beer here that was worth $400, and I was like,
whoa,
maybe I could drink it, or maybe I could just fucking sell it and make $400. You know, so I started doing that more. I keep obviously some of the more meaningful things. Like I have a Stanley Pop that's signed, and a couple random toys, or something that my girl got me, like the Batman figure up there, and the Joker.
with Quinn.
Yeah, and the Joker. Like I'll keep those. I'm not selling those ever, even if they do go up in value. Because it has a sentimental value that's worth more than whatever money.
Well, there's like a memory and an experience attached to it.
Yeah. But it's funny. One of the more successful video games, I would say, is Pokemon. Right? It's a huge thing. It's a huge market.
Pokemon Go.
Video game, the Pokemon Go on the phone, the show, all that stuff. All that Pokemon is based on that collector's mentality. That's all it is. It's, hey, I want to catch them all. I need to have all of the Pokemon.
Yeah.
So
I know.
It's great.
But it's set up. I mean, it's brilliant because it already sets you up for collectors and people that...
You already have a built-in fan base.
Yeah,
people that are into collecting things
for however long you want.
Yeah.
I mean, you can literally. I mean, it's been going on since I was a kid, and it kind of sets you up for this very long. It has a lot of longevity to the brand already, and it wasn't even that big of a thing. But they had like cards and then they came out with video games and the show. It's just, it's crazy. I mean, whoever is their marketing guru.
The people at it wasn't Nintendo. That's funny. It's weird. I thought that was a Nintendo thing, like a property of Nintendo, but apparently it's a separate company that works with them. Because now, Pokemon's on the phone, and I think it's Niantic. It's a company that does it, but yeah, they're genius, those guys. And what they did with the phone app, the Go, is magic. Like... You guys hit it right on the head. Yes, of course, people want to collect all the Pokemon, but also they want to do it in the world, in the real world. And I thought it was great. I remember driving around and seeing like groups of people just playing together, strangers. And I would join them. Like, me and my girl would be like, let's go see what's going on over there. And we'll talk to them like, yeah, we're about to do a raid. It's like, oh, well, shit, let's do it. And we get all together. And that's the first game that's ever done that. That's ever gotten people out of the house.
Oh, absolutely.
And interacting with strangers like that.
Right. Walking around, actually exerting energy.
yeah. Like, you realize, like, I'm catching Pokemon, but at the same time, I just walked 4 miles. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And
it's genius, man.
Yeah.
It's genius.
So let's go back to what you're doing with your art. So the Bizarre Doodles, is that what you...
Yeah, Bizarre Doodles. It's spelled Bizzare.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Doodles is spelled correctly. But.
What kind of, like, what made you switch to, because that's a drastic switch, like you were saying, between your metal art and your doodles.
Right. Well, I actually started, I didn't have a name for it. I just called it Pocket Doodles because that's the book that I was drawing out of. Because it's a little pocket book that's maybe 6 inches by like 4 inches. It's really small, and it was my way. I started by just going out to bars, and I didn't want to lug a ton of stuff with me to draw, so I would just bring these books, and it was a way for me to unwind and be not so serious.
Okay.
As the Joker would say.
Sure.
Yeah, not serious, and it also was a way to be a lot more creative because they have these prompt twos. So like they'll have a little drawing and then they'll have a text that prompts you to do something. Okay. So it was kind of like I took it on as like working for a client. Like, okay, how can I make this as cool and as interesting as possible?
Sure.
And I posted one of them, and a ton of people really liked it. And I wasn't really thinking of doing it for like an actual brand or anything. This was probably 2 years ago, maybe. And so I just did a massive amount of these. Like I would draw at least maybe 1 or 2 a day, for months on end, and I took a little break, but I probably have like hundreds of these things, and they're so much fun because it allows me to get outside of that like morbid, brutal mentality, and I can have fun, and I can, because I have a very broad range of humor.
Okay.
So I like to be witty and, use puns and stuff like that, and use text and tell a story, and it was just a way for me to laugh at myself, basically.
Was the end game ever to release it like a book, or maybe like I don't know, some kind of medium, like
no,
a story or anything?
It was strictly for my own entertainment, and it's funny because it seems like a lot of things take off like that. Like, people aren't really doing it to do really anything other than entertain themselves, or
Sure.
just for a laugh. But I started getting a lot of popularity around it, and a lot of people liked it. So then I came out with art cards, and those were actually the biggest seller at Comic-Con.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I just have all these ideas in my mind of things that like you could do that I think, and it's kind of, I keep bringing it back to bands and shit like that, but
no, I love bands, and I love working for them.
When you look at like certain bands that started off a certain way, like if you look at bands like Stained or something,
yeah,
where they started off and it was tormented and it was heavy and screaming and violent, and then now it's like an acoustic thing and it's like more commercial friendly, but he's still enjoying it. Like, he's not doing it because he's a
sellout or something.
Right. He's enjoying it. It's just he has a different spectrum of his life now that he likes to present. And I would argue that it's more popular than what he started with. More people appreciate the softer acoustic stuff compared to like the heavy screaming stuff. And sometimes you just got to do that. You know what I mean? Like for you, like you started with your metal art, but maybe the doodles are more successful. Maybe the next thing you do after that is even more successful, but it's a little further away from where you started.
Right.
And people...
Well,
yeah.
I was just going to say that I started Defame a long time ago, actually. I think back in 2007. But I didn't do black and white illustration until about 4 years ago or so. So I haven't even been doing it that long.
Okay.
I've only been working for bands for maybe 2 years or so.
Okay.
So it's pretty recent thing, but I mean, it was a very dark time in my life, and I've always been drawn to metal, but even more so, and I really wanted to work for metal bands, and I just wanted that to be my profession. Mm-hmm. And I guess the older I get, the more I understand that I can't take myself so seriously all the time. Like, I have a good sense of humor, and I'm trying to use it more.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, you can't get pigeonholed. I mean, it's important to branch out. And you still have room for it. Like, you still need it. It's still a part of you. Like, for me with metal, like playing in a band, it's not something I'm doing right now, but I still need it. You know what I mean? Like, I still want to go do it. I just, I want to do other things too. So you got to kind of branch out. It's just keeping the balance, I think, is important. Making sure you go back to, like, if you do more doodle stuff, or if you go and you do something new and it's a little further away from whatever reason, from what you were originally doing, like, you still got to go back and touch on that stuff, right?
Oh yeah. I don't really see myself, I guess, fully disconnecting from like the Defame brand. What was I gonna? I forgot where I was going with that. Yeah, I'm not gonna totally like separate myself from that dark, brutal artwork. But I would like to be more focused on, I guess, the bizarre doodle type stuff, just because it's funny, it's lighthearted, and it's also dark.
Sure. Yeah, and it's dark, but it helps you with your internal struggles too, because I mean, there's a very sensitive topic of how art needs pain and suffering to be like successful. Like people talk about it with musicians and, you know, people that are on drugs or are depressed or whatever make some of the best music because they're in suffering and they're in pain. And I kind of agree with that, you know, to a certain extent. Like, yeah, some of the best stuff I've done is when I've been in severe pain of emotional damage or some kind of situation. But if you continue to keep yourself in that zone,
right, to submerge yourself
then
in that mentality.
Yeah, you go past the point of no return with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like some of the people that I've met that are really into serial killer stuff. Like, that's cool. I like watching documentaries on it too, but that's not my life because then I'm going to become a serial killer. That's what's going to end up happening. Like, and I see these people and they're like, oh, I love, you know, I collect pictures and I have the books and this and that. I'm like, you're going to start murdering people soon. Please take it easy because it does engulf you. It becomes part of you. And you need to, especially when you're working in that realm of darkness and brutality, you need to let some light in.
Right. I mean? Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was another reason why I started kind of switching gears, just because I had noticed how, like, you know, I've always been like a metalhead. I've always kind of dressed darker, but I mean, I was just like, it kind of like consumed me, I guess, because I was thinking, you know, I need to be going to shows all the time. I need to be listening to metal all the time and learning about new bands and, you know, submerging myself in that darkness because that's what I do now. It was almost like that business mindset kind of took over, and I'm like, I have to be my brand kind of thing.
Sure.
And then I was just, it just kind of got to the point where it was really, really depressing and dark, and I just had to get out.
Yeah. No.
So now I'm like completely disassociated from my brand. Like, I'll go out and wear a bright pink T-shirt, you know.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I hear you. It's kind of happening to me with the podcast. I mean, I've always been one of those guys that goes to every show possible and tries to meet the band and hang out with them. Like, and it's not like maybe in the beginning when I was a young kid, it was a little aggressive and kind of fanboyish, you know. But now it's not like that at all. Like now, when I go to a show and I have the fortune of being side stage or something, I want to just hang out with them because I want to meet them and I appreciate what they're doing, and I think that we have things in common because obviously I like what you're doing, so we must have some things in common. I want to know what those things are. It's a different approach, but it is also kind of starting to, like, for example, I recently went to Vegas to go do a festival out there called Psycho Las Vegas, and
it's like 3 hours from here, right?
It's about 3.5 hours.
3.5, okay.
So I went out there and I went full on business mode. You know, like I've got the new gear, this thing I got basically for that. Make sure I have batteries, and I bought food. Like it was a business trip. It wasn't a party trip, but it ended up becoming like
a party trip.
Because then I realized that, yeah, I'm trying to do this as a business, but also I am become RocknRoll Beer Guy. You know what I mean? Like I have a certain thing that I have to do. I have
That's
to go
so
party.
weird that like you've experienced that too. Wonder how many other artists and musicians. I'm sure a lot of them go through that, man. Because I had to be Defame.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't Samuel. I was Defame.
Yeah, and I mean it's important to do that if you're trying to build a brand.
Right.
So you have to.
But you got to have boundaries.
Yeah, you do have to have
boundaries. Didn't really have boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that trip to Vegas, like, I cut it short. I realized, I woke up, I'm like, oh, nope, got to go home. This is not working. It was too much RocknRoll Beer Guy going on. Like, and you wake up in a hotel and you're on the floor and you don't even know which hotel you're in or who you're in the room with. And there's like a hooker in the room.
That tends to happen in Vegas.
And yeah, I was just kind of like, I was trying to sleep.
It's like a prerequisite for Vegas, a hooker.
Yeah.
Hooker, Coke.
Yeah, it's so weird because like I'm not really into that, but I know it's part of it. I know that that's going to happen with the people around me, for sure.
Right.
Like, within 5 minutes of me getting to Vegas, I saw cocaine. So it was like, oh, well, this is standard.
Welcome to Vegas.
Yeah, this is standard here. But, yeah, it's just... when you're trying to do, especially what I'm trying to do, which is, relate to bands and party and kind of just hang out and be friendly, and it does require a certain level of partying that is unhealthy. And a lot of people don't get that. They're like, oh, shut up, you're partying with the band, and you're complaining. I'm like, I'm not complaining, it's just...
They just go hard, and I can't keep up.
Yeah, I'm just in pain. Like, my body hurts, physical damage.
That's why they have to do more drugs. Yeah. It's a vicious circle.
Snorting fucking painkillers because everything hurts. I'm like, well, I don't want to get to that point. I don't want to get to the point where I need these substances to keep me alive, I don't mind dabbling for fun every once in a while if I'm hanging out with them, but seeing some of the things that they do, I'm just like, man, I guess that's what happens when you get to a certain point and all your bills are non-existent. You know what I mean? If you don't have to worry about bills, you have to be a very strong human being and a very strong adult to not be a piece of shit. Like, there's no middle ground. It's like, let's say you release an album and you're number one in the billboards and you have enough money to where you have no worries. You don't have to worry about gas. You don't have to worry about your bills. They're all paid for in advance. Your credit's amazing. How do you not become a piece of shit at that point? Like, how do you not go, fuck this, party time?
Yeah, because I tend to think that, our natural instinct as human beings is to be, I guess, evil, if you can use that, or negative, or we sway towards bad things that aren't good for us.
Sure.
So if you elevate yourself and
your access to the evil,
the access is just it. I don't know. I really don't know what I would do. I mean, I live in America, so I'm pretty well off,
compared to most
of the world. But I guess I've never been to that level where I can literally buy just about anything,
Yeah, no. I had a weird way of growing up. So I grew up in a family that was well off, but not by any kind of legal means. Like, my dad was involved with the mafia, and my grandfather was involved, and everything was crime. But I never saw, the evil part of that. You know what I mean? In my mind, that's just what my family's doing for money. That's their business. And we had a lot of money. I had whatever I wanted. I would just be like, hey, I want the new Nintendo system. Boom, it was there. My dad would try and make a scene. Like, hey, I need grades from you that are not shit. So I would just go to school and get good grades, and here's my grades, and can I have the Nintendo now? And they're like, yeah, it's done. So it was always, in the beginning for me, it was always, I get whatever I want. I may have to put some work in, a little bit, take out the garbage, whatever, do some chores. But at the end of the day, I'm going to get what I want. And then all of that got put to a stop when my father got arrested and got caught. So family fled. We had to leave New Jersey and go to Miami, and it was like chaos. You know what I mean? Because life as we know it is now different. And
right. Yeah, that's got to be a dramatic shift in lifestyle.
Yeah, and then that happened pretty much at the time I was 15. So that happened at the time when I'm developing as a human.
Oh man.
So I was forced into kind of, all right, well, now I have to do something different completely to what I'm used to. So what is it going to be? And I was like, oh, I'm going to hang out. I'm going to meet people. I'm going to meet friends and meet girls. And this is high school, so obviously it's going to happen anyway. And then I moved out of the house when I was 18. And then I did the only thing I knew how to do, because that's what I grew up with. And I became a criminal. And I started doing stupid shit at the job I was at. I was running Dolphin Mall, this mall in Florida. It was the biggest mall in Miami. I was running that mall. Like people, I was the manager at a store there, and basically, all the other stores would come to me, and I would give them things, and they would give me things, and like whenever I wanted, I need a new cell phone, they'd send over the cell phone guy with a brand new phone for me, and I would, we would make deals, and I got caught, and I got immediate karma. Like, I got arrested. I was involved in a deathly car accident where I died physically, according to the reports. They brought me back with paddles and shit, and then
with paddles.
Yeah. After I died, I kind of had this vision, so I wanted to explore it. So I went and I used all the money I had left to go exploring, and I went to Peru, and I went to Nicaragua, and I went to Spain. I went to like a whole bunch of different countries. While I was in Peru, someone broke into my house and stole everything I owned.
Oh my gosh, dude. Wow.
So when people ask me if I believe in karma, I'm like, fuck yeah, I do. Of course I do. That is karma to the T. It's like, I used to steal. Everything that I owned got stolen. And then I got the punishment of getting in a car accident and doing all that shit. So I learned my lesson really hard. And, there was a period of my life when I was homeless and just completely a piece of shit, and I had to try and recover from all of that with basically zero foundation, like zero parenting foundation. My parents are just not parents. They were so engulfed in their own worlds that they couldn't be parents, even if they wanted to. I have nothing to build on, so I had to start from scratch. And like now, like the reason I'm bringing all this up is you mentioned your podcast that you do, Doomed to Fail, right? Yeah. And it was,
man, I can't. You can say all of that all over again. It's very interesting.
Yeah. No, I can go into more depth.
Okay.
When I do it, there's a lot more details to it. But
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was over a course of many years.
Yeah, this all was. Let's see. It all went crazy after I turned 14. I'm 36 now. And I would say only up until the last 5 or 6 years of my life has it been different, because just a lot of shit. You know what I mean? I had a lot of failure, a lot of attempts to do things that failed, and moving forward, like I've done so many different professions. I've done stage management for stage production company, where I would build a stage and put the lighting and the cables and for big acts at arenas like Aerosmith and fucking Lenny Kravitz and Madonna and shit like that. So I'm backstage, setting up the stage for these people. I've done that. I've done retail. I've worked at Victoria's Secret and Old Navy.
You worked at Victoria's Secret?
I worked at Victoria's Secret at one point, dude. I had a moment, a crisis, where the job that I was working at, I was working for my buddy Jay. He had a print shop. And I'd done a lot of graphic design work too. So, I mean, I don't call myself an artist, but I've done art. So, just not to the level that you do it.
I'm sorry. I still can't get over this whole Victoria's Secret thing, because I feel so awkward in there. I love their cologne for men that's called Very Sexy for Him. Oh, it's no, that's what it's called. That's what it's called.
Of course it's called that. Very Sexy for Men.
Yeah, very. Not just sexy for very.
Very sexy for men.
So every time I go in there to get that cologne, it's really expensive, by the way, but I get compliments left and right on that. So, it's like one of my favorite colognes. And every time I go in there, I feel so awkward.
Yeah.
Because I'm not with a girl. I'm not shopping for my girl.
You're getting judged by the other girls that are in there. Like, why are you in there by yourself?
Right. So I just, I'm putting myself in that scenario of actually working there.
Oh man!
And did you get girls like? Are you some kind of perp? Like, how did that interview go? Like, seriously?
Well, actually, the interview is actually a great story, kind of.
Yes, I have to hear this, because
I really was at a desperate point. Like I was saying, like I was working with my buddy. He had to let me go.
It doesn't sound like it. This sounds like a dream job.
No. Well, maybe if I were single at the time, but I wasn't single. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if I were single, maybe, because it'd be a creeper. But maybe I would have gotten fired for being a creeper. I don't know. But yeah, my buddy had to let me go. He couldn't afford my paycheck anymore, so I desperation job, fuck, I need something. And my girl, her boss was friends with the boss at Victoria's Secret.
Oh.
So she set up an interview for me. And I show up to this interview, and it's a group interview, and there's like 12 other girls in there, and I'm the only guy.
Of course.
Right. So I'm standing there in the back, big bearded dude in the back, and a bunch of young little girls.
No, already in that situation, right? You need to sit in the front. So you look.
No, I was just standing by the door because I was like, I'm going to just stay by the door because I know I'm probably going to get shooed away at any point. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be like, no, get out of here.
Okay, I'd probably do this.
I was like, I'm gonna stay here for a quick evacuation. And they were going around asking the girls, like, oh, what kind of bombshell are you? Because they have a series of things called bombshells. I think it's like bras or something that there's a diamond and there's a black angel. And like, which bombshell are you?
Did they ask you?
No. So like, they asked all the girls like different things. And they get to me. They're like, hey, so tell me, why do you want to work here? I'm like, well, because I need money.
Hey,
and
that's
she was like, what? I'm like, yeah, I needed money. So here's how it works. The more you pay me, the harder I work. Sound simple enough? She was like, yeah. Okay. I like that. I'm like, all right, done. So they went around and they interviewed everybody else, like, oh, tell me what your favorite cologne or perfume is and this and that, and like all these details. And they came up to me and they're like, we're not going to assume you're familiar with the brand at all. I'm like, not at all. I have no idea. I don't know anything. I know it's underwear for girls. And I am not a fan of, I like removing underwear from girls, not anything else.
Folding them.
Yeah. Folding them with these ridiculous
Did they even fold them? Can you?
I tried, and then I have really rough hands because I do a lot of physical labor.
So you're like tearing them apart.
I'm tearing
with your rough
them. They're like pieces of skin are getting attached to the lace, and it's like flying and shit.
Oh man!
But so I did a lot of the folding and a lot of organizing, but a lot of the time I spent it in the back room in stock, just pulling boxes of underwear and shit. But yeah, it was really awkward. Especially I worked during I worked during Black Friday.
Oh
yeah,
I'm like cringing because I could only imagine how I would feel if I was doing that job. Literally every split second would be, I am the pervious dude. How did I get this job?
And let me tell you, it's not like the movies make it seem. Or like
the movies. I don't watch a whole lot of movies. So.
or like, okay, Married with Children. When I was a kid.
The show.
The show Married with Children. There was a scene with Al Bundy that's like he's in a lingerie store trying to buy lingerie, and this girl's like, "Oh, can you tell me if this looks good?" And they're like showing you, like, no, that doesn't happen.
Oh, I'm sure it's like the exact opposite.
Yeah. Guys were like, "Oh man, you were looking at chicks in their underwear." No, not at all. There's curtains. I mean, the chicks in the underwear are in the pictures on the wall, but the chicks that are in the store, no, we're not. I'm not looking at them in their underwear. I'm not. They're not asking me to see if this feels right.
Okay? Yeah,
does
exactly.
this feel good? Like,
does this make me look fat?
Yeah. No, they don't care. They don't want my opinion on that. They just want, hey, where's the dressing room? Or, hey, where are these bras? I'm like, over there. And then that's it. That was the extent of my interaction with them. So,
right.
But yeah, I mean, I left right when I got the job offer to work in the beer industry. So it's
way more up your alley.
Yeah. So I went up to the boss. I was there for like 6 months, maybe tops. I did Black Friday and I hung around for a couple months after that.
Wow, that's still. I mean, I've had some. Well, it probably wasn't a bad job. Just like the overwhelming anxiety of feeling weird or uncomfortable.
Yeah, you get numb to it after a while. Like the first few days for sure, but then like after a couple weeks, I'm just used to it. And it was basically, and I like a certain aspect of uniformity with work. Like, I know that I had my schedule at 9 or whatever, and I had to get up, and I'm putting on the same black pants and the same black shirt because that's the uniform. Like, that sounds dull and boring to a lot of people, but I kind of like that sometimes.
Yeah,
in
I like the structure of it.
Yeah, like just like, just go do it.
This is actually what I do when I need money or I need structure, because I have been a freelance artist. I was a freelance artist for about a year without no job. Ooh. And it a lot of people think it's fun, and it is, but it's so unstructured.
Yeah.
And
it's way more stress.
Yeah, well, there was times where, it was good, the business was good, but there was times where I didn't sleep for like 40 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people don't get that aspect of it. The stress levels are way higher because you are on your own, and it's on you to schedule it and get the work done and get out there and make it happen. And it's still like that for me anyway. Like I have a structured day job with the brewery.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I always have, like, there's a level, my level of stress is high, but it's a lot lower than it would be if I didn't have that.
Right.
If I didn't have that to fall back on to pay my bills.
Yeah, it's that sense of security.
Yeah, the podcasting and everything else wouldn't even be existing right now if it wasn't for the fact that I have that,
Right. Yeah.
But ultimate goal is to get rid of that. Like, ultimate goal is to just focus on the podcast and focus on creating things like writing. I've been wanting to do more writing so that's all I'm focusing on.
Ooh, that'd be a good idea for your podcast. Have like articles too, or like show notes that you write.
Sure. Yeah. I usually write notes for when I'm talking to someone, like a musician or something. I'll have little notes like, you have 7 albums, or you have, you started back in '97. Tell me about that. Stuff like that. But I'm trying to get better at just doing the research beforehand and just winging it, because it seems more natural and organic when it's just a conversation. But yeah, I want to start writing. There's so many ideas that I have. Like, I've written scripts for cartoons with my buddy, my roommate, and other things like that. But it's not enough to pay the bills. You still need to have a job. So
right.
I'm trying to. My levels of stress are still high because I'm still trying to make that one thing that'll get me out of the structured daily routine job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think life will ever not be stressful unless you like change your mentality and attitude, because it doesn't matter how much money you make.
Yeah.
Like if you,
there's always going to be more shit you want.
Right. Or just things that like you have to worry about,
Yeah.
And I think it really just comes down to mindset, because I've been well off and I've been living out of my car, so it really doesn't matter for me. I'm always stressed out because I think all the time.
Sure.
It's very hard for me to just be even keel, and I'm a laid back guy, but that's on the outside. In here in my head, I'm just,
well, it shows in your art.
Yeah, because it's so detailed, and every person tells me, they're like, oh, that's the first thing they say. It's so detailed, and a part of me, like, it starts getting kind of annoying after a while, because I'm like, not at them or the comment. I'm annoyed at myself because I'm like, yeah, it is really detailed. That's because of my personality, and that's annoying. I don't like being very detail oriented. Like, it definitely has its pros for sure, but it has a lot of cons that tend to outweigh the pros.
Sure. But I think it's good for you that you have that outlet to put all the detail in, because otherwise you'd be doing other shit.
Probably. I'd probably be like super OCD or something.
Right. Like some of the people that I
or
need
like
to turn
really
the light switch
controlling
3 times on and 4 times off, otherwise I can't leave the house. Like, that happens to people that don't have an outlet.
Right.
You have at least your outlet of art, and put all that detail into that, so you're not worried about not walking on any cracks on the sidewalk.
That's actually really intriguing, because I used to be super OCD. Like when I was a kid, I had to have everything just so and very organized, and like I hated you touching my stuff. Not because like I didn't trust you, it was just like I would have to go and move it all over again, and I think that's what allured me to art, because when I was a little kid, I loved coloring. That was probably one of my favorite things, because I loved staying inside the lines, and I loved making things look really plush and nice looking.
Okay.
So the coloring definitely propelled me into drawing, which then propelled me into a lot of creative avenues. But it's really that's kind of intriguing. I don't know what I would be like without art. Maybe I would be a crazy OCD person. Like maybe I'd be a hoarder or something. I don't know, because I'm organized, but you would think I would be way more OCD than I am. Like I allow clothes on my floor. I think I'm actually a dirty person. Not in the sense of like cleanliness or whatever, but dirty in the sense of like my mentality, like clothes on the floor and unmade beds and beer cans on my drawing desk and stuff.
A lot of artists are that way. A lot of artists are that way for sure. And it's definitely tied to how you were as a child. And like you had OCD when you were a kid. So that is reflecting in your art in a positive way, because otherwise you might be, the crazy person. For me, it's becoming more apparent as I get older. I do have some OCD. Like a lot of my shit is alphabetized, and I have it all organized. I have lists for my things. I have Excel sheets with every Blu-ray I own, every comic, and like just alphabetized.
Wow, that is pretty excessive.
Yeah.
I was just gonna comment and encourage you that that's a good thing, but I don't know about the Excel.
Well, the reason Excel. I started the Excel sheets actually is because the collections have gotten so large that I'm starting to forget what I have.
Oh, okay. Well,
So sometimes
right,
I like to do a lot of I go to surplus stores or like Goodwills and shit, and if I find like a Blu-ray that I really like for like $3 or $4, I'll pick it up. But I make sure now I have my list. So now I go through my list and I'm like, oh no, I don't own it. Or oh shit, I own it. Never mind. Fuck it. Put it back.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, all right. Take back what I said. It's not that excessive.
But
when you put it that way, and I didn't know how much stuff you have. So
it is.
If
still
it's like
weird,
that, then
it's still weird though. It's still OCD. And then I also have a lot of violent tendencies that when I was younger, and not too much younger, like even a few years back, I had the band, and that's where I was releasing all of my violent stress, because I was going on stage, I was screaming at people and getting it out, going and moshing in pits and stuff. Now I can't even mosh anymore. Like I go to a show and I mosh and I come back and I'm a mess for 3 days.
Did we talk about that at Comic-Con?
Did we? Possibly. We might have, but yeah, I've gotten too old to mosh. And
yeah,
that
I
used
have
to be,
too. But I don't know. Maybe we didn't talk about it. But.
No, I don't know if we did. I don't think we did. But yeah, it's one of those things that I loved doing it when I was younger. But now as I'm older and I've had more injuries and more stuff building and arthritis is kicking in, it's like
right.
I can't spend the next 2 days recovering from moshing. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not. How old are you?
36.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not nearly there as far as like old. A lot of I'm 27, but I've been skateboarding for 17 years. Been moshing for a long time, and yeah, that's kind of where it's getting for me too. It's also because I'm kind of small. Like I get thrown around. Like I'm the guy that gets seriously hurt.
You can get cross what do you call it? Crowd surfing, but then like maybe...
No, I get thrown when I'm crowd surfing. It doesn't end well, so I just stopped doing that. But it's like I have to choose. Either I'm going to keep moshing or I'm going to keep skateboarding. Skateboarding, I feel like I can let out everything that I'm letting out in a mosh, but more. And I'm being athletic and I'm being active.
You're outside. It feels
outside,
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a tan,
I have to figure out what to do, because it is starting to build up, and I am getting more angry because I don't have those outlets. You know what I mean? So like, I've been wanting to go to the gym, and I've been doing that. I've been going to the gym, but it's temporary relief. It's not a creative outlet either. So it's not like I'm going in the gym and being creative.
They have like free stuff on Craigslist that you could just go and pick up and smash the living hell out of. Like.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like fun too. I just like being aggressive while being creative. So like the performing part of being in a band, that whole thing is missing. Like even if I go smash something, it's just a temporary release. It's kind of like
but you can make art out of it.
Yeah,
you can.
True.
I don't know if you're into photography. You could really get into just smashing stuff up and organizing it very neatly and taking a photo of it.
That's true.
It would get your organization, your violence, your creativity. I don't know, man.
My girl has a nice camera and she likes taking pictures, so maybe I can do
the DSLR.
I could do I could do the setup, and then she does the photography, and we do collaborative efforts. You know?
Oh man, yeah, it could be like a romantic outing of destroying and setting things on fire.
You document it. All right, cool. Yeah, that sounds right. I think we can do something like that.
It's an idea, you know.
Yeah, it's just weird. I do miss performing, like, and I don't miss the admiration aspect of it, because a lot of people are like, oh, you just miss the fame and people, you know, whatever. And it's like, not really. I just liked yelling at people, and they appreciate it, and like they connect to it, and I'm just kind of like, cool, yell with me, like, and give them the mic, like, here, take this, and
it's like the only scenario where yelling at people is actually admired
and desired.
Yeah.
Like for me, I mean, one of my favorite bands was Dillinger Escape Plan, and through the years, I've managed to become good friends with him as well. And
my father's calling me.
Oh, you want to talk to him? I could pause this.
He never calls me, so
pick it up.
Yeah, do it that way.
How it works? Yeah, there we go. Technology. So we had to take a little break, but I don't remember what we were talking about.
Yeah, and if I don't get my situation situated, that was redundant, but you know. I will probably be in jail at some point.
Yeah, they put warrants out for your arrest if you don't attend jury duty.
How ridiculous is that?
That's
Seriously, like
amazing. That's what.
You know what's hilarious is like they normally don't care about what you think.
No, they never care about what you think until that moment.
Why? Yeah. Like it's the only thing that like it's like we're losing so many freedoms, but that's the only thing that they're like, we have to keep jury duty. It's our freedom. It's our right as Americans. And it's like, really, nobody cares. That's the freedom that you're like, you know, laying down your life and your.
It should be voluntary,
allegiance.
Man. It should not be mandatory. It's one of those things. Like I know people that are into it. I know people that like going to jury duty because they're fascinated by the
bring
case.
Their clipboards and their briefcases.
They're writing their fucking crime novels or whatever they're doing while they're in there, you know.
It's totally not like that. It's boring as hell. You know what's really funny though? Have you ever done jury duty?
Oh, I've gotten out of it every time.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I'm for whatever. Maybe it's because I can't lie. So like I write general reasons and it never works. But anyways, what's really funny is you're sitting there for a good 4 or 5 hours while they're figuring out who's okay and who's not, who's going upstairs, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there, and I kid you not, it was Judge Judy that was on the TV. And I was like, did they do this on purpose or is this just really ironic?
Well, you guys must love judge stuff, right?
Right. You're the only people that showed up and didn't know how to get out of it. Here's your punishment.
Court shit. Here's people's court. No. Yeah, no, it's funny, dude, that's still a thing. It should definitely be just optional. Even though I guess I see the problem. They wouldn't get a lot of people. You know, there'll be a handful of jurors there.
Yeah, it'd be people that are practicing law or they're going to law school.
Yeah. I don't know. I've managed to always avoid it. Same way as I've avoided like a lot of other things. Just I'm not off the grid. Obviously, I have my cell phone and my computer and all that stuff. But
I really don't know how I didn't get out of it. Like I put where I work, and then I mentioned the fact that there's a lot of Nazis that I work with. I literally put that. I was like, "Yep, lots of Nazis." No, I'm not. I'm not a Nazi.
Now, if you would have said I'm a Nazi, they would have been like, "Okay, fine, you're not."
But that would be lying, and I don't want.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're lying, and it isn't what you're under oath.
Right. Well, that's how I take it, you know. And then I said that I don't feel that I'm mentally stable to be put on the jury.
Oh, dude, but see, that wouldn't even be a lie.
Right, because I'm crazy in the sense of I have a really sick sense of humor, and I would probably not be taking it seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And you're a creative person. So
I'm a creative
your
person.
Your mind will be racing. You won't even be paying attention to the
right.
case.
You'll
be doodling, actually, on the
probably,
table. You know what I mean? So,
I'd be doodling the whole crime scene, what actually went down.
Exactly. So you're not lying. You're not able to do what that mundane, boring bullshit they want you to do. Like, I'm sorry, I have better things to do than that. Like,
well, and I
whether
don't
that be just sit there and doodle, you know.
I don't understand a lot of like social cues, so I'd probably be the guy that has to get up and go to the bathroom every like 5 minutes.
Excuse me, guys. Can you put a hold on this real quick? I got a tinkle. Oh man.
Denied,
sir. Sit back down. Well, and you pull the liar speech. Just be like, hey, it's supposed to be really bad for your reproduction organs, and I want to have a kid.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Like, well, in that case, everybody go on a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
That movie was one of my favorite movies growing up. I like that movie more than Ace Ventura.
Really?
Yeah. That was the first time I ever went to the movie theater, and I was laughing so fucking hard that I fell out of my chair. That's never happened before.
Man, I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
I wasn't even on drugs. I was a kid, so it wasn't like I was stoned.
Oh, I was on drugs when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too. But I mean, how old is that movie? How old was Liar Liar?
I don't know. I think it
it's
was older.
97? No, it's got to be older.
Well, it was older than Ace Ventura, and I thought Ace Ventura came out in like 95.
Liar Liar came out in 97. I was definitely on drugs. Never mind.
Wait, okay. Now I want to know when Ace Ventura came out, because I thought it was like 95.
Ace Ventura.
So did it come out before Liar Liar?
1994.
Oh, so that was pretty close.
Yeah. So Ace Ventura was first, and yeah, Liar Liar was after Mask. It was after, I think it might have been even after Ace Ventura 2. It was definitely after Dumb and Dumber. I think it was. I don't want to say it's his last great film, but it's definitely
one of
his later
Nature
ones.
Calls. That was
Nature Calls is amazing.
Yeah.
But Liar Liar, dude, I just remember just cracking up so hard. I must have been stoned then. 97, I was already doing stuff. But falling on the floor. That had never happened to me. I lost control of my limbs. I was just cramped up like, and I just fell over to the ground.
That's awesome, though. Like, a movie's never been able to do that for me. Like, I definitely get like that when I'm around my friends. like my best friend can make me laugh so hard, I literally want to punch him in the face. Like, it hurts so bad.
Yeah, like, stop it.
Yeah.
I very rarely get into those fits of laughter, but that was one of the times, man. That movie, I think it was like one of the scenes with, well, the scene with the pen where he's like drawing on himself, or like the pen is blue. That's magic to me when I was a kid, and when the it's like the phone call he has with the chick, and she's like, "What were you doing then?" He's like, "Having sex." Like, I lost my shit as a child. Just I couldn't handle it. Just his facial expressions. That dude, he's doing a new movie, right? About Terrence McKenna.
Oh man, I don't know. His last couple of movies, I would say 23 was probably his last really good movie.
23 was good. Yeah. Are you familiar with Terrence McKenna, though?
Well, Yes Man was pretty good. No, I'm not familiar.
So Terrence McKenna is I don't know what to call him.
A dude.
I don't think he's a doctor. He's a researcher for psychedelics.
Oh.
He's written many books on it.
Wait, is this...
He has a book called Food of the Gods, which is fascinating.
I would flip out if it was like a mockumentary with Jim Carrey.
It is. And so they're
really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Jim
dude,
Carrey's going to
awesome.
be Terrence McKenna. So,
oh.
And apparently, according to what I read, in preparation, he ate a gram of mushrooms and went out into the forest.
Wow, he hasn't lost his lunacy. That's good.
No. After we stop, I'll show you a clip of him. He appeared on a TV show. I think it's Conan or one of those late night shows, and he's been missing, off TV for a long time. He's giant gray beard. And he's just out of his mind, like staring at the audience. Like,
kind of like in Dumb and Dumber 2 when
yes.
He's got that massive beard.
Dude, but he looks like he's just been tripping on LSD and mushrooms for the last 10 years. since his last good movie.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, he's making a comeback. That
I'm in.
great.
I'm in. I want to talk to that dude so bad. Because I saw him also on, he did Comedians in Car Getting Coffee. The
with Seinfeld, yeah.
He did that. And that at that point, he was you could see that he was like he had just quit. He's like, I'm not acting anymore. I'm just doing art. I'm painting now. That's what he's been doing. He's just painting.
Really?
And he just took a bunch of psychedelics and just started painting. And now he has a studio here in L.A., apparently, that is all his paintings. And he comes and does that Comedians in Coffee. But the whole time he's just making these very existential jokes to Seinfeld. And Seinfeld just laughs it off. Ha ha ha. But I'm like, are you listening to this right now? Jim Carrey's woke. But
man.
Oh man.
That sounds really awesome. Yeah, okay, if you do, you probably have a better chance of talking to him than I do.
Oh, man, please. I don't know.
Definitely bring up his story of him moving here to Hollywood and how he made his first $1 million, because I think that's like really dear to his heart. A lot of people don't know about that story.
Okay.
And I think that might like give you some credibility with him.
True.
Yeah.
I have heard about that. He's not the one that wrote the check to himself, is it?
Yeah.
He is? Okay, yeah. So yeah, I have heard that story once at least. But yeah, that is I want to know what he did. I mean, I moved to Hollywood to be closer to my girl and her job, for her to have her job here. But I also have aspirations, you know what I mean? Like the podcast is just the beginning. I hope it keeps going. I hope I can keep doing the podcast. But there's more that I want to do, man. Like I've been writing to do comedy, to try and do like a stand-up somewhere, open mic, 5 minutes somewhere here and there, and just practice it, you know? And
maybe, I definitely want to do that too.
Yeah, just do the 5 minutes my open mics until I have 30 minutes. And then once I have 30 minutes, then I can maybe go somewhere and try and do it.
Man, you know? I don't know if I could. Well, my live streams, I kid you not, there's probably about 3 or 4 people that they literally stay on there for like 3 hours.
Jesus.
I know. Is that not insane? Yeah. So I guess maybe I could keep a few people's interest for 30 minutes.
Yeah, man. You should. One thing that I've seen a lot of people doing lately, and it's pretty successful on like Facebook and Instagram. You'll do like a painting session, but also like turn around and talk to them, and like they can write shit. So as you're streaming, you'll see shit pop up, and then you can answer some of those questions.
Yeah, that's what I do on Instagram.
You do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually encourage it. Like, if people are not commenting, I'm just like, you guys are really lame. Like, I want to hear what's going on. Like, tell me about your day, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I ask them questions. I'll be like, hey, I'll see somebody pop in or something, because it shows, like, who's joining.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, hey, how's it going? How's your day? Or whatever. And they don't reply. I'm like, why are you being lame? Don't be lame. Like, I'm genuinely interested. Like, come on.
Say some words.
Yeah.
Say something back. Interact. I mean, we have this crazy technology, and people aren't really using it right.
Right.
You know, like,
well, I don't know if they think, he's. I don't know if maybe they're nervous or, you know, yeah, you have no idea what people are thinking.
Yeah, people can be weird and nervous. Some people just have it on in the background.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm having a party, I'll put on a live stream of some shit and just let it ride. You know, and it's concerts, or whether it's somebody playing video games on Twitch or something, like a game that looks cool, like Street Fighter or something. Just put it on and let it. That's background noise. Like when you're at a bar, there's a TV with the sports, and you know, instead of that,
Street Fighter sounds way more interesting than sports.
Right? Yeah, there's a bar here in LA actually that does that. But it's not live stream in Twitch. They're actually streaming people playing in the arcade.
That's awesome.
Because that's really cool. They have a barcade, and you know they have this giant projection, and it's Street Fighter, and it's people that are playing right now, like in that place. I forget what it's called. Like, I think it's Bar 87 or something like that. It's in the middle of Little Tokyo. It's awesome. It's fucking awesome. I love that place. I've always wanted to open a place like that in Florida, because that doesn't exist out there. Like a really good barcade does not exist in Florida.
Yeah,
there's a bunch out here, but
Yeah, it doesn't exist in St. Louis either. There's a lot of things that don't exist. Like, if I was more business savvy and I actually had capital, I know there's an audience for a lot of ideas that I have in St. Louis. The problem with St. Louis is it's so spread out that, I mean, there's not really a massive scene for really anything in one particular area. It's just a lot of people spread out through, you know, anywhere, I would say like a 60-mile radius.
Jesus Christ.
So it's...
I don't know, man. I mean, would you consider leaving?
Oh, I consider leaving all the time. But my grandma is kind of what's tying me down.
Gotcha.
And this whole trip was like kind of...
Setting the stage?
Yeah, I was very uneasy about leaving her for a month. But she said that was okay. We'll see. She hasn't been calling me. I've talked to her once since I've been here, so I guess that's a good step. Yeah. Baby steps, you know.
Baby steps. Yeah, no, it's one of those things I tell any artist or any musician. It's like you need to go to one of the major cities. It doesn't have to be L.A. L.A. is great, and there's a ton of opportunity. There's a ton of competition, but there's a ton of opportunity. But like New York is a good option for artists.
Been there, hate it. Absolutely hate New York.
Miami's kind of got a thing going, but not really art-wise. Right. They do have an art scene.
I thought about Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon. It's a big one.
I do love Portlandia, and I'm sure I would laugh hysterically to myself quite often at the people there.
I would recommend also Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond.
I've been there a few times, and yes, there's Charlottesville, Virginia has got some chaos, but Richmond's got some really cool art and breweries and small shops.
Interesting. Never thought about that.
Really great people. The weather's like just right, kind of like you still have your seasons, but it's never like there's no hurricanes. You know, like sometimes they get some outer bands, but there's no hurricanes. There's not a lot of heat. I mean, in the summer it gets hot, but not like 121 we had here in California the other day.
Right.
You know, so,
I'm used to like horrible weather all the time.
Yeah, so like Richmond, Virginia is really, really awesome. I told my girl, like, if I ever leave here, it's to go to Richmond. That's the only other place I want to go.
Really?
Asheville too. Asheville, North Carolina is all right. That's also on the list, but I'd rather go to Richmond first, to be honest. There's really cool bands based out of there. Guar is based out of there.
Yeah.
Municipal Waste. There's a lot of really cool breweries there. The Vale and Mekong's is the #1 craft beer bar in America. So like, they're cranking, you know.
Wait, is Lamb of God out of
Lamb of
Richmond?
God? Yeah. I actually
that's like one of my favorite bands. So.
I met Randy there.
Randy? Oh, man.
Yeah, I met him at there was a brewery, Hardywood was doing an event, and I met up with Dave Whitty from Municipal Waste there, and Randy was signing books. And Dave was like, "Oh yeah, Randy's a good friend. You want to meet him?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, please." We talked.
Dude's like a legend.
I met him. He got his book. He signed me a copy of his book, and the book's crazy, dude. I don't know if you've read it, but he wrote a book about his time in jail and the whole thing that he had to do because they charged him with murdering a fan.
Right.
It's like that
was pretty crazy. Shit, I saw the documentary on it, but I haven't.
Yeah, the book's pretty cool. I really like it because it's his perspective, so it's awesome. But yeah, Richmond's home to a lot of really good music, a lot of really good art, a lot of really good food and beer. I would love to live there for at least a couple years.
What's the cost of living?
It's definitely gone up since they've kind of. It's gone up since they've gotten a little more popular, I guess.
Gotcha.
But it's not. It's definitely better than it is here.
Yeah, well, see, I'm spoiled, man. Like. The cost of living in St. Louis is very, very cheap compared to a lot of the major cities. So that's the other thing is like I'm kind of used to that. Yeah. I like that, and I like that gas. I can literally, I kid you not, man. I have a Civic Del Sol. Well, it's my sister's car because mine's MIA because I hit a deer. Oh, so it's getting fixed, but. Yeah, so I'm driving this little Del Sol, $18 to fill up my tank.
Nice.
$18.
That's pretty nice. I like that.
And it lasts quite a while too. Like if I'm driving when I was working, full time, I would drive to work every single day, and then on the weekends I'd drive around, and it would last me about a week. Nice. $18.
Yeah, I go through a lot of gas, man. Well, I do Uber on the side too, but.
Oh, there you go. See, we don't have Uber unless you go like downtown.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I decided to start doing it out here because it's extra cash. Why not? Sometimes I have an emergency, like, hey, I need $60 by tomorrow for this bill. I'm short, so I then have to hit the road and do Uber until I have $60, and I can make $60 in 3 hours doing Uber.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so just go out for 3 hours, and you're just driving around. You're meeting people.
Yeah, do you meet anybody pretty cool?
Yeah, I mean, I met a bunch of cool people, and especially when I'm doing rides in like Burbank or West Hollywood and stuff, you get a lot of like writers and directors and just people that are working, and you can hear you hear them talking, and then you could have the conversation if you have the personality to. But like this guy got in my car in a suit and started talking. He was talking about deals and about this movie and this and that. Like, oh, but we have to get J-Lo, and I'm just like, what? Excuse me? You get who? And I'll joke with them, or I'll say something funny, and we'll hit it off, and I'll give them my card. And I've met a couple people that way now that have helped out with the podcast, getting a guest here or there, or
wow,
I met a PR rep in one of my rides, and she's been getting me guests. So
see, I would have just thought. Well, this has been my experience. A lot of people throw away my card, so I only give them my card unless they're genuinely interested.
Sure.
So because my cards are pretty expensive, dude. I get them from Moo. Like they're not. Yeah. They're very high quality, you know. So it's not like I get them from Vistaprint and they're like a penny,
Yeah, mine were pretty standard. I used to do.
Actually, they were better than a lot of business cards that I get. I didn't tell you this, but I was actually kind of impressed.
Well, I like the whole, like, my girl was making fun of the back part. She's like, it's a cartoon, it's a little silly. I'm like, who cares? I'm silly.
Yeah, that's your personality. Yeah.
The only issue is now I've actually held back on handing those out because sometimes I had people just like, oh, what do you have, a podcast? Cool, let me get your sticker or something. They just want a thing that says RocknRoll Beer Guy. My card has my phone number and like my email and shit.
Oh yeah. See, I don't put mine. I write it down if somebody really needs it, and you see how much space like on my business cards I have, so I can write stuff down. You know, my phone number.
Yeah, I gotta get some new cards and keep those for like really important meetings and like, yes, here's my number, please call me.
Right.
But I need also just to have some standard, just the artwork and a website and maybe like the social media stuff.
Yeah.
So just for anyone, just like here, connect online, but don't call my house, please. Don't call me. Please don't stalk me on Instagram.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's happened, by the way. Just
really?
People like, hey.
Wow. I've only had one stalker, and she was actually really cute, but it was kind of a weird situation. It would have been a lot better if her dad wasn't a sheriff.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, because she was, which is weird. Like she was stalking me, and well, actually, okay. This is a funny story. It's a long story, but we actually were dating, and then things happened, and her dad did not like us dating, and then she started stalking me. And at first, like, we already dated, so it wasn't like creepy, but then it got really creepy, and she started calling me like all the time, leaving messages like, "Kid you not, you can run, but you can't hide." Like using that actual phrase.
Jesus Christ.
So then I was like, okay, this is actually getting like kind of scary.
Scary?
Yeah. But I more like didn't want to continue the relationship because her dad was a sheriff and was like threatening me, and I don't know, he just didn't like me. I tend to think if you don't like me, there's really something wrong with you. So, but it was his daughter. I understand that's a totally different situation.
Yeah, that's the dynamic you get with that. I dated a girl once that when I broke up with her, she became a stalker. Like, she started showing up at the house.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like,
that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, like, I'm like, you need to stop showing up here. We broke up. Like, please stop. And then, like, one day I remember walking by and seeing her hanging out in the corner of my building, like across the street,
just hanging out,
standing there. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I went up there, like, if you don't stop this, I'm gonna call the cops. Like, you really need to stop this. It's kind of. And she's like, but I love you. And I'm like, oh, we're done here. Like,
man,
wow.
Now that I think about it, maybe I had, I think my other ex-girlfriend in high school, I never really noticed anything. Like, she wouldn't call me or anything. But I drove the same route to work every single day, and she knew that. And after we broke up, there was, like, these signs. There was, like, signs, and I know her handwriting, and it just said, I love you, Sam, and, like, all of this other stuff.
Oh,
and it was actually really cute, but then it went to another level where I got really pissed off. She went to my work. She saran wrapped my car, and like, I was so confused. Like, it was literally the most psychotic thing I've ever seen, because she had balloons on the inside with, like, all of these kisses. It looked nice, and then she had kisses all over my car, but then she also saran wrapped it.
Maybe
like,
she was trying to wrap it like a gift for you.
Maybe, but it was it looked crazy. It looked absolutely crazy.
That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah. But yeah, and she ruined the paint. Like, I put so much money in this car. Like, it had Lambo doors. It was two-tone, half carbon fiber. Like, it was nice, man. It was really nice. Probably the nicest thing I've ever had. But I worked really, really hard. I had 2 jobs. I started working at 14. Like, I was probably even younger, but I didn't get on payroll until 14. Or, no, I might have been a lot older. I think I was getting paid under the table for quite a while. But it was because my grandfather owned his own business. But,
right.
But, yeah, she ruined the paint, and because it was lipstick. You know, lipstick's actually pretty hard to get off of, like, mirrors and paint and stuff, so... Plus, it was on a really hot day, so it just, like, caked all day while I was at work.
Yeah, the lipstick writing is definitely a red flag. Like, that's a red flag for, like, nope, calling the cops. What are you talking about? You're writing with lipstick on the mirrors and the windows. Nope, get out.
I know. I was pretty mad. That was, like, the last straw.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't even together with her. And it was the last straw of just wanting to... even think about that person.
Jesus Christ, man. Yeah, I had a situation in New York once with this chick that I really liked at the time, and we went on a date. I wasn't even living in New York at the time. Pause. Come on in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to edit this out, so it's fine.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. No, we're not done. But come on in.
It's so nice, though, that he's, very courteous and respectful.
He texted me, he's like, you done? I'm like, no. Come on in. All right. I guess we'll wait a few seconds. Start again. We're almost done.
I'm going to be on it, though.
I'm not editing any of this. Fuck this. So, yeah. There's this girl in New York I really liked, and I was living in Florida. I went to New York to see her. I mean, went on a date, and she got really drunk, and it didn't seem that way. I know we were both drunk. We both got really...
That's why it didn't seem that way, because you were drunk.
We were both drunk, and we were bar hopping and going to different clubs and stuff, and then at one point, I just remember, it was getting to that point of the night, like, we should go home, because we're all way too drunk, and we're needing to go back. And we were sitting in the subway in New York, waiting to get a subway to her place, which she lived in a very shady neighborhood at the time. But, homeless dude looking at her, so she's looking back, and she just starts yelling at the homeless dude. What the fuck are you looking at? I'm like, what are you doing? Please stop yelling at the homeless guy. She's like, he's looking at me. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's homeless. He's probably crazy.
Or bored.
Don't yell at him. What are you yelling at him for right now? It's 5 a.m. Like, what are you? I will fucking cut you, and whips out a knife. The girl.
Seriously, wow.
Like, what's happening? And she looks at me. I grab her. I'm like, please don't fucking stab the homeless guy. And I grabbed her arm, and she turns and points it at me. She's like, I'll fucking cut you too, motherfucker. I'm like, oh.
Wow.
Wrong answer. Like, oh no. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how I managed to calm her down enough to get her home, but I dropped her off at home and like ran away as fast as I could. Like, that was it. And I really liked this girl. It was crazy.
Oh man, you have my problem. You always like the ones that are like nut jobs that are not good for you.
Life ruiners, as I like to call them.
Yeah. Leave you in shambles, and they're completely fine, and you have to like literally reestablish your life and your humanity as a person.
Everything is now different after that.
Yeah.
Great.
Like mentally, like you literally have to reassemble yourself as a human being. That's the kind of women that I've dated. But that's also my fault too, you know? Like, for a long time I used to blame it on them, and you know, it was actually my counselor that brought this up to me, and she was like, you know, Sam, like, this is some tough love, but you're like maybe 1 or 2 times, but like when you just keep getting into these relationships that are just like absolutely horrific for you, it's kind of your fault. Like, you should be paying attention to all of these red flags that you just totally like, it'll be fine. You know, like my ex-fiance, like her mom was, you know, just like absolutely erratic, like an absolute lunatic a lot of the time, and I was like, it'll be fine.
Yeah, people are weird, man. People are weird. It's scary the way people can switch on you like that too, man. Like, even really close friends, like, you don't even romantic entanglement is weird too, because there's a different layer there, you know, because you guys are romantically involved, but even like good friends just pull a switch on you like that when you think you know them really well. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, I've had a couple friends I've lost just one day. We were just talking about it today, that's why I brought it up. But group of my friends were like, hey, whatever happened to this one guy? I'm like, well, last time I talked to him, he had posted some religious shit on his Facebook page, and I was laughing at him. And I laughed because from what I understand, my buddies, all of us, were on the same page when it came to religion. So me making a joke was like, ha ha, you know what I mean? I was making a joke. He got so mad because apparently he just found Jesus. So he was very upset that I was taking his religion very lightly. I'm like, well, guess we're not friends anymore. Like,
I mean, I rarely come across people that are on the same page with me religiously, but I don't really take that stuff to heart because I've also been in their shoes. I've been in the shoes of like not really believing in anything, or, you know, thinking religion is stupid and all that stuff. So I kind of get where they're coming from.
Well, yeah, no, I get it, but you could still be my friend I'm sorry, I made a joke.
Right, exactly.
I'm sorry, but we can still be friends. Like, you don't have to get all like separate, like block me on Facebook. Like, really? Let's talk it out. We're friends. We've known each other for 10 years.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Like,
I don't understand.
No, done. We're done. Like, what?
Yeah. Well, you never know. Like, you have no idea what people are thinking and their hearts about stuff. I tried it. I'm a very sensitive guy, so. But it also helps that I analyze and articulate everything to like the nth degree. So. Yeah. It's nice that I can think and analyze things, because if I was just overly sensitive and I didn't think about things, dude, I probably want to be friends with like anybody. But, you know, it's like that logic and thinking about stuff, it really helps in times like that, because I get really upset or I get really offended and my feelings are really hurt, and, you know, I just overthink it, and then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess it really wasn't that big of a deal.
Right, at least
You
you're
know?
able to do that, though, man. Like,
Right.
that's a good thing to have. A lot of people don't have that. Like, they don't have that moment of, well, maybe I'm taking it too seriously or whatever. Like, the logical sense of it. A lot of people just act on emotion and it's completely switch on you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There was this one friend of mine, too, that we were close friends in school. He was actually the first person that ever gave me weed. And then we were friendly, whatever. He would come over. He would stay at my house, whatever. He became the guy on the couch for a while. Yeah, like I had this,
Like half-baked.
yeah, I had a huge house, and I would have bands come and perform, and that was the house with all the animals and shit. And he would just stay on the couch. We all party till like 5 a.m, and I wake up, and he's still there. I'm like, all right,
Wow.
whatever. There'd be a random girl in the kitchen, like puking on herself, like on the floor, like stuff like that. But
And he's just on the couch.
huh?
And he's just on the couch.
Yeah, he would just chill on the couch, and he was really a good friend. But things got a little weird at one point. He started hanging out with another group of people, and
They joined him on the couch?
No. No, it was just he was hanging out with some people that I didn't like. Like I just, sometimes you meet people and there's something off.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna do anything about it, but I'm not gonna hang out there. Like that's not my vibe. You know?
Right.
So he was hanging out with that group, and he started acting weird when he would come hang out with me, and I'm just like really weird, like sitting super close to me on a large couch. Like he would come and sit till the legs are touching, and I'm like, there's so much room on the couch, dude. Like, are you hitting on me right now? Is that what's going on? And he's like, no, bro, I'm not gay. I'm like, well why are you so close to me? Fucking move aside. Why,
See, I feel
why
like
am
this
I
is
touching
good.
you?
I'm not. You're not all the way to the absolute end.
No,
I'm
yeah.
not all the way, but there's a good person between us,
Right, and
you know?
there's pillows.
And there's pillows, exactly.
But yeah, he got to that point where it was super creepy sometimes, and I would call him out, and then like he would say ridiculous shit in front of other people, like weird shit, like not even funny. Like maybe he thought he was being funny, but nobody took it as a joke. Everybody would stop and like, oh my god, what? Did you just say that out loud? And then, like,
That's my kind of humor, but I keep it to myself.
Yeah, like I liked it. I would laugh because I know him, so I'd be like, yeah, he's an idiot. But then, like, my friends were just all like, no, dude, like that dude's weird. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And it just got weirder and weirder. And one day, I was having a party, and I was hosting. I would do the UFC fights, so I would buy it, and then I would do a barbecue, and I'd have like 15, 20 people come over, and everybody would throw down a little bit of money on the pay-per-view, or somebody would bring food or beer, or whatever. It was a cool little communal thing. And everyone was like, hey, please do not invite this guy. I'm like,
Wow.
but he's my friend.
He must have been really weird.
Yeah, I'm like, but he's my friend. Of course I'm going to invite him. He's been watching all the fights with us. And they're like, we're leaving if he comes. I'm like, well, fuck. So I called him up. I'm like, hey, we're not doing the fight this weekend. Like, I got some shit going on. So just to let you know. And he's like, oh, cool, no problem. He showed up to my balcony, which oversaw the streets. And that's where my grill was. So I'm out there grilling, and there's like 10 people on the balcony, and we're all smoking. And he fucking pulls up on his bike and looks up, and he's like, I thought you weren't watching the fight tonight. I'm like, change plans, dude. He's like, I see. And he just disappeared, and I haven't heard from him since. He blocked me on all social media.
Wow.
I texted him. He never responded. I think he called me like the next day and was just like, hey, man, I thought our friendship was more than that. And I'm like, I'm sorry?
I try to be honest with people, man.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, dude. They don't want you around, dude. What do you want? Like, it's not me. Like, I'm fine with you being here, but there's 15 other people that don't want you here. That's kind of weird. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So, yeah, after that, we kind of stopped being, we stopped talking. So, I don't even know if he's alive right now. And he was a decent friend for a while, but shit got weird. And that's the whole point of this whole conversation, was that people get weird.
Right.
Like your exes or, family, friends.
Well, I've had quite a few really weird friends, but I always try to be 100% honest with them.
Yeah.
But that's also my flaw, is I'm brutally honest. And, well, It's not as great as it used to be. I used to be like no bounds, no filter whatsoever. It would literally come out as I was thinking it, and I've learned
to kind of filter.
I've learned to filter it, but now I'm starting to like, man, I wish I was still like that, because I would get myself out of a lot of situations.
Yeah, but it also, I guess, you can't really afford to do that when you're in a business.
That's true. Yeah. Maybe, well, no, it was before my business I started figuring out, maybe I should have a filter.
Yeah, because certain people get away with it. Like, Joey Diaz, Joe Rogan, those people, Bill Burr, they get, their business is being no filter. You know what I mean? Right. But some people aren't like that. Some people need to have a little filter.
Well, they're also extremely nice dudes, too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Bill Burr is an absolute sweetheart. You would never think that in a million years, but he is. Like, if you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast, if you listen to his podcast, that he's actually a really nice guy.
No, he's a great guy. I mean, I haven't met him in person, but I met Bert Kreischer. He was a great guy. A little erratic, but that's expected. And the guy's super busy and doing a million things, and he's the machine or whatever. And you know how many fucking people have to come up to him and say that every day? Like, I'm sure he's sick of it. You know what I mean? I mean, it is his popularity. It is why he's famous. But I don't know. I have never achieved a level of fame to get upset at people for appreciating what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't gotten to that point in my life ever with the music. We had a lot of fans in Miami and Florida when we were doing the band thing, and it was great. I liked all of them. I talked to all of them. Like, hey, this is a family. And then, with the podcast, I have some people that reach out, and I always respond. I always talk to people. I've never gotten to that point where, like, I'm going to shut down. Like, I know a few people like that, where they got some fame, and it's like, nope, no fan interaction. Like, but they got you here, bro. They got you to this point. Like, how do you not shake a hand or take a picture? And I get some people get weird, some people get aggressive and a little too much, but you at least humor them for a few seconds. You know what I mean? Don't just completely shut down. Like, hey, how are you? Great. Oh, you're weird. I gotta go. Like that should be the interaction. If you realize, like, oh, that person's trying to pull something out of their pants, I gotta go. I gotta go. Yeah. But
I do get annoyed with the whole, do you do tattoos? I hear that all the time, man.
Wait, you don't do tattoos?
No.
Shit.
I think the more annoying part of it all is that I just feel like I'm missing out on a ton of money.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I would be good at it. I'm not saying that I would make money. I'm just saying there's a lot of money in tattoos.
For sure. Sure. There is a lot of money in that business if you're good at it.
Because I would probably be terrible.
But that's the thing, you have to be, like, really good at it for it to be worth something. Like, you have to be a Thomas Hooper. I don't know if you're familiar with his work. He's from New York. He's done a bunch of band art for bands, for album covers and shirts and stuff.
I know Brandon Holt does the same thing, and I know who Brandon Holt is.
Okay. Well, this dude, I went to New York to see him, too. And I'm like, I want work from you because I like your work.
Do you do tattoos?
No. Do you do tattoos, bro? No, he does tattoos, though. He had a tattoo shop, but he was charging $200 an hour.
Oh,
and
some of them charge, like, per square inch.
Well, this dude, the way he sold it to me was impossible. Like, I couldn't pay for it at all. I went over there to meet him, and because I just wanted to meet him because I was a big fan of his work. And I really did want a tattoo from him. And my budget in my mind was like $800, maybe $1,000. He goes, yeah, it's $200 an hour. The piece that you want is going to take about 36 hours. I'm like, excuse me? I don't even live here in New York. And he's like, oh, yeah, and we're only doing 4-hour sessions at a time. So I have to come back to New York. I have to leave and fly to New York. So not only am I paying you this exorbitant amount of money, but I have to buy a plane ticket and a hotel every session that I want to do with you. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, that's $1 million project for a tattoo. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
Oh, my gosh.
But I know there are people that do it. I know them. I've seen him. He
To
has
me,
business.
that just seems so stupid. Like, I personally, I have tattoos, so it's not that I don't dislike them. It makes no sense to me how they can charge that much money when it's not like an investment. Those people aren't like investing into something.
Well,
like bands. Okay,
your
well,
life
let me put
investment.
it this way. Well, let me put it this way. Okay, your body could be your investment or whatever, but it only lasts as long as you last. Okay, when you buy artwork from an artist for your company, or you're buying an original art, that artwork, that design or whatever that you're paying for is an investment, because it is, unless it gets destroyed, it will definitely surpass you.
Sure.
And lifespan. So, and you can make money off of it.
Yeah, you can have it at galleries and whatnot.
Right. I mean, people can argue, oh, you can make money off of yourself because you're the one who's... No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying that, like, spending $1,000 on a tattoo versus spending $1,000 on maybe a marketing team to help you with your business. Like, one is a no-brainer for me. Like, of course I'm going to go with the tattoo. No,
what about if the tattoo is what makes you famous? You get
so
Subway
stupid.
tattooed on your forehead.
Oh my god!
And now you're famous for having Subway tattooed across your forehead.
That shouldn't even be a thing, but you're right.
No, it is for sure.
Look at
Stitches, dude. Stitches. Have you heard of Stitches?
No, and I really don't.
Oh
want to.
man,
This is so...
I should change your life right now.
Man.
He's from Miami. He's got stupid face tattoos, like a AK-47, and like he has a Joker smile, like stitched up, kind of all across his face, and like other miscellaneous face tattoos. And then he's a rap artist, and he just basically is yelling into a microphone that he sells cocaine. And I'm not exaggerating. He's like, I sell cocaine! Like, that's his music. And with a beat in the background.
But he's famous for his tattoos. They should call him Flash, because I'm sure his face looks like a flash sheet of tattoos.
It's so stupid, dude. It's so dumb.
But that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's so stupid. Why? That shouldn't even be a thing.
Well,
he
like,
should not be famous because
you can tattoo
he's a
good.
moron.
Yeah. Well, like,
sorry, I don't know the guy. I'm generalizing.
That's fine.
He's probably not a moron.
They should charge a good amount if it's a really, really talented artist where like you're getting a work of art on your body, then you should pay for the same amount as like a work of art, on a painting. For me, like that's fine. If it's really a work of art, like if you're fucking doing a sugar skull, go fuck yourself. But like if it's basically a super detailed painting on your body, like I don't even have anything that's that. Maybe the Joker. That's about it. But that was $100-something. Like that's not a huge investment.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, now that you put it now I'm thinking like fine art mentality of
like
maybe it should even be more because it only lasts as long as you do.
Right.
Now this is like getting into
rarity.
some like Andy Warhol type,
very deep conceptual art here.
Yeah.
It's got a limited time of existence. It only exists on the planet for this amount of time. So you can charge people to come see your piece.
Yeah, you could be an exhibit.
Right, and they do this. I've seen people do this. I've seen
I know.
tattoo exhibitions. Like, there's people standing there, like, showing off their pieces that they got, and they get money from it. Sponsorships and bullshit. Like, you can monetize pretty much anything in this fucking world. So,
well, interesting. Okay, well now you're opening up like a whole can of worms.
Yeah, like I mean, if you were to practice and actually see that you can actually pull it off, because they sell like they tell you to tattoo on like oranges or some shit or pig skin, but they sell like things you could practice on.
Yeah,
and
they're like skin canvas. It's literally like a sheet of paper that's skin.
Made of skin. Yeah. So if you can get good at it, you're gonna make money. You're gonna make money.
But see, that's why I haven't gone into it, is because I've had tattoo artists say that I'm like ones that I look up to. They would say that you're already like pretty good at drawing, and I think it would be really stressful and very obnoxious to you. So I would suggest just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, that's also the thing. You have to have the patience to deal with fucking idiots that want tattoos, man.
Well, it's not just that. It's like relearning how to draw in a different way on top of a moving canvas, on top of a moving tool that you're utilizing to actually do the artwork.
Yeah, it's buzzing and shit like that.
And it's heavy, and yeah.
So this is the guy I'm talking about. This is the guy I went to go see in New York. Like, these are some ridiculous, super detailed fucking, the dot art, I guess.
Yeah, like the pointillism.
Yeah, like, that's ridiculous, man.
Or stimpling.
Is that what they call it?
Stimpling, yeah.
It's just insane stuff, man. Really great art, and I would love to get a piece from him, but at that cost, like, no. If it was, I would drop, easy $800, $1,000, maybe a couple $1,000 on this, something like this that would cover the majority of my torso, But the math just wasn't adding up with the plane trips and everything. You know what I mean? Like if I lived in New York, it'd be a different story.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Man, those I really admire any artist that can do symmetry really well.
Oh yeah.
Because
hard. That is very
I'm
hard.
So bad at symmetry, and you work with what you have, and you capitalize on what you're good or what you're not good at. And in this case, I'm not good at symmetry, so I capitalize off of asymmetry. I get really good at asymmetry.
Jesus Christ. Well, I'm going to start wrapping up the podcast, but I'm going to wrap us up with a little clip from Stitches.
This will be interesting.
I'm going to show you Stitches, my friend.
Oh, man. Educate me. Educate me, Stitches. What you got?
Kilos in My Bag is the name of the song from Mr. Stitches. So he was actually looking for some music work from my buddy. He's like, I need some guitar work laid out. He's like, maybe get some hooks from you because I sing. So he was like, oh, bro, look at this. Please pay attention to the music, too.
Okay. There's so much going on. It's probably not a good idea singing about bringing kilos to the airport while you're going to the airport. And he's right next to a car.
It's the best thing ever and the worst thing ever all at once. It's so bad. Look at that AK-47 on his face, bro.
Like, I'm so...
He breaks out his entire business plan here, by the way.
He's cool with all of the TSA agents. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Wait, so this is still... You can still say that this is like,
whoa,
gangster.
This guy is, like, intense.
No, yeah.
Wow.
This is,
I'm so on edge. I'm, like, sweating right now because this guy is...
This one is called Molly Cyrus. And,
I'm assuming he talks about Miley Cyrus.
Listen to what he's saying.
Oh, that kind of looked like Miley Cyrus. In her trashier years. Oh, and she's pregnant. Wait, put
a Molly in her ass.
He loves putting things in assholes, I guess.
This guy's a goddamn genius. Is all it is. I'm sorry. These people don't even know.
Wow.
He's just ahead of the times, man.
I want to know if, like, he's hardcore serious about this.
No,
stuff.
dude, this guy's from Kendall. It's like a rich neighborhood in Miami. He's just trying to. I mean, he's
trying to make
committed
money.
now. He's committed.
Oh, he's
now.
committed to his
Because
brand.
now he's got the tattoos all over his face.
Right.
So he's fucked now. Now he is Stitches. But in the beginning, he wasn't this at all. Like he was just a little rich kid in Miami and Kendall and fucking chilling out.
Wow,
And now he's getting into fights. Like he got punched out by another rapper or something. He was handing out cocaine to people in his shows, so he got arrested. Like,
oh my god.
Yeah. He's fully committed to the character now. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, dude, thank you so much for coming by and doing the podcast. I mean, you don't have to go after this. We could chill, but I'm saying I want to stop doing
Kicking
this.
you out.
I want to stop doing this. It's been 2 hours, I think.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah, 2 hours.
My podcasts go for like 3.5 hours, 4 hours sometimes.
Oh, my God. I haven't done one that long yet. Most of mine have been an hour. Mostly, I decided to do, like, I don't mind if it goes past an hour, but I only listen to podcasts for about an hour.
Oh, no, not me.
Yeah.
I will literally, I kid you not, one day I listened to Joe Rogan's podcast for 8 hours straight.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I love Joe Rogan. I listen to every episode, but I break it up. Like, I'll hear an hour, and then I'll, maybe after, like, I take a long trip, and I got another hour drive, I'll listen to another hour of the show, but, it takes me a couple days to hear a full episode.
No, well, because I don't really have much of a social life. I'm just drawing,
Well,
so,
especially for your art, like, you're sitting there drawing, so you need some sounds in the background.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's.
And I like to
normal.
educate myself.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's
like,
super educational with podcasts. Yeah. I mean, I don't do that. Like, I'm either doing a podcast, or I'm out driving, or I'm selling beer somewhere. And when I'm driving Uber, I listen to the podcast. But sometimes, people don't want to hear that in the car.
Yeah.
So I'll put on some music until they get out. When they get out, I switch back to the podcast. And keep riding. But that's a lot of work too. So it's like sometimes I just give up. Like, fuck it, I'm not gonna. I'll listen to it later. Sometimes if I have to shave my head, I listen to podcasts when I do that because it takes me a while. I do the straight razor thing, so it's a good hour in the bathroom when I'm going to shave my head because I do the clippers.
See, I need to do that.
Huh?
I need to do that.
Yeah, I have a really bad receding hairline, so I'm like, I just got to shave, or I wear hats when I get lazy and let it grow out. But it takes me a good hour to buzz cut, then razor blades, and then I have to shower because I'm covered in hair and shit. So it's a whole process.
It sounds like a very lengthy process.
That's why I get lazy and I don't do it. People are like, why don't you shave your head every day? I was like, well, why don't you go fuck yourself? It's a lot of work. Like, I don't have time to waste an hour in the bathroom right now. Shaving my head.
It's definitely a lot more than shaving your beard, and I don't even do that every day.
No, that's also part of it. I do little adjustments, like right here on the cheeks. But the rest is just bearded out. Fuck it.
Yep, that's what I do. And I make sure it doesn't get too far down on my neck. I don't want a massive neck beard.
Yeah, you don't want people calling you a neck beard.
Right. Well, that's actually kind of a cool nickname.
Hey, neck beard. Yeah, I like fine things like coffee, good coffee, and craft beer, and fine
platoons
books.
Or what? Batoons or whatever they're called.
Mm.
Oh, Batoons are what you spit in, right? Batoons, like a spitting batoon.
The bucket,
Yeah.
the spit bucket, I guess. Right? Is that what it's called? I'm not white, man. I'm Cuban.
Oh, okay. Well, you should know more than I do, man. But I was talking about the coins, the like metal or the gold coins.
Oh, doubloons.
Doubloons. Oh, it was so close.
Doubloons. So the only reason I remembered that is so funny. My buddy's band Intronaut. I had to call him up and give him props when I heard the song. He has a song, or they have a song, sorry, called Fast Worms. And at some point in that song, he fucking says doubloons. I thought I was just making it up in my mind. Like, he's nuts. But no, he is. He's saying that. He's talking about like a transaction, and the guy's using doubloons to pay for it. I'm like, dude.
That sounds baller.
Fucking good shit using that word in the song. Like, who the fuck?
Right.
Who the fuck sings
it's educational.
A progressive metal song where they say doubloons? Oh shit. Well, anyway, I'm gonna turn this thing off. Thank you guys for listening. Please follow Sam on Instagram and stuff. What are your social medias?
Yeah, Defame. It's all underscores. in between each letter. So just search Defame, Defame, and it'll be like the first one.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I have a YouTube. That's just Defame Illustrations. You can search that.
Is that where you do your live streaming art stuff?
No, I don't do live. I'm thinking about getting RedTube.
Okay.
But right now, it's mainly just...
Wait, isn't RedTube a porn site?
No. I thought that's what it was called, like the paid YouTube.
Oh, that's YouTube Red.
YouTube Red. Okay, I'm dyslexic.
I'm pretty sure
I've
RedTube is a porn site.
Oh, okay. Well, I've probably been there. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. I don't know.
RedTube, I'm pretty sure is a porn site. RedTube.
Well, maybe I got something on my mind that I.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Now I know. Now I know the difference.
So find him on RedTube.
Yeah, find me on RedTube. I'm also a porn star. Yep, Rio Sanchez. That is my porn star name.
Oh, shit. All right. So Defame underscores under each letter for Instagram. The Twitters, the YouTube channel was Defame Production. What did you say? I'm sorry.
For the YouTube, just search Defame Illustrations.
Illustrations. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just time lapse. I'm coming out with a YouTube video series that will be me talking about somewhat serious stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's actually becoming bigger. I know the singer Jesse from Killswitch, he started a thing where he flexing your mental muscle or something, where it's about mental health and just getting shit
really
out.
cool.
It's really good, man. I'm glad it's happening. We need more of that.
We need more mental stimulation. For sure.
Just let people know that having mental issues is a real fucking thing. It's not some joke. It's not like man up, pussy. Like it's right. A thing. You know what I mean? I'm victim to being one of those guys that most of the time I'll yell at you, man up, pussy. Like if you're not taking a shot of beer with me or a shot or a beer. Like I'm gonna yell that out, and
I'll tell you to go to fuck yourself.
yeah. But I'm also sensitive to that. Like when it's like a real mental issue, I don't fuck around. I don't think it's a joke. So yeah, we need more of that stuff. So it'd be cool if you said you're gonna talk more personal stuff or
more personal.
Stuff.
Yeah, I guess just more experiences, business. It'll be kind of like a doomed to fail video series.
Okay.
like my podcast, but it's more like serious and talking about like struggles of trying to make it and things that you can do, maybe you don't do that could help you and pursuing if you want to do what I do. So
cool, very cool. Yeah, that sounds very interesting. And then, you have a podcast, Doomed to Fail. Mm-hmm. How do they find that? iTunes, stuff
it's like that? On adventureskull.com. It's the other guy that does it with me. It was actually his idea.
Okay.
So I would have to... Because it's kind of hard to spell Adventure Skull. It's not actually spelled correctly. It's like all kind of like abbreviated. But
no vowels?
If you
no,
there's vowels.
Okay.
But I promote it here and there. If it's a really good episode, I promote it on my Instagram.
Okay.
So
just look up. I mean, I'm sure you can Google or iTunes search "Doomed to Fail."
I don't think it's on iTunes
because
you have to download it from his website. I could ask him.
You should tell him. You should have him, like, if you start I mean, you do got to pay for it. That's the only downside. But you pay for a hosting service like SoundCloud or Libsyn, and they'll give you an RSS feed. It's an address, it's a web address. You just copy paste it into iTunes, and it automatically populates iTunes. It automatically populates Google Play and all that shit.
We don't really want it to. We don't really want it to be that.
You don't
popular.
want you listening. This podcast is for no one.
We kind of want it to be like a. We want like a cult following. We want people that just really dig us as individuals, and we've even thought about. We have such few followers that we've even thought about like bringing them on and just be like, hey, so how have you failed in your life? Have you failed in your life, and what have you learned? And make us laugh.
Yeah. Well, dude, look, and let me not maybe it's a bubble bursting or not, but Being on iTunes doesn't mean you have a following.
Oh, okay.
Being on iTunes just that cult following now has access to.
We don't want it to be super easy to follow us. Like listen to our podcast. Does that make sense? So we want
if you want to listen to it, you have to put the effort.
Right, and that's what I mean by like cult following.
Okay,
you have to really know us as artists and know what we're up to even know that we have a podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. But now more people, I don't even know how many followers you have or people that like listeners, but I'm sure now there's even more people, and I just ruined the whole cult. I'm sorry, Michael.
Yeah, by talking about the podcast on my podcast, you just got 1,000 followers. No,
whoa, mind blown. Podcast talking about podcasts.
Yeah. No, it's funny, dude. For me, like with Libsyn, I have the podcast available on everything I could possibly have available, but that doesn't mean shit. Like I'm still the numbers are still what they are. You know what I mean? Like I have to put in work promoting the brand. Like,
oh, absolutely.
I do so much work in social media work with Instagram, like trying to follow people. And
it is a lot of work.
It is. You got to follow people. You got to comment. You got to find like, all right, I had on Dale Crover from the Melvins, so I got to make sure when I make my post, I have to tag the Melvins, and I got to make sure there's the right hashtags, and then I got to go to the Melvins page, and I got to start following people from the Melvins. That if you like the Melvins, you're gonna like my podcast with the dudes from the Melvins. Blah, 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 blah. And it's every episode, it's like that. And then there's also the algorithm of like, well, there's people that are not real people on Instagram, so I have to make sure that I'm not just following like robots, because that's not a listener, that's just a robot. So you got to find the actual listeners, and you got to unfollow people, and it's just it's such a process, dude. I've been wanting to find someone to do it for me, but can't afford to pay anybody anything, so
yeah,
it's like you have to really love me to want to do this for me. You can hang out, maybe have some beer.
Man, I've done like barters and stuff. I mean, now I typically pay people, but like in the past, like I've bartered with people. Bought them beer, dinner.
I love bartering. That's how I do most of my business. Yeah, that's how I mean with bands and shit. Like a lot of the bands I've met and become friends with is because of that. Like I'll meet them at a show, and be like, hey, I work at a brewery. I can bring you a lot of beer. Want some beer?
Oh my gosh! And for rock stars, that's like,
it's such a yes.
It's like a golden turd.
The venue gets them beer too, but like if you can have some like fancier beers or nicer beers, that like somebody's a beer geek in a band, and like they'll appreciate the fact that you got a fucking crazy beer, then it works out. But anyway, thank you so much for listening, guys. Please check out Defame. Please share and like and all that stuff that people do. For me, don't share and like Doomed to Fail podcast because they want to maintain their secrecy.
Yes.
All right. Cheers, guys.